Happy Monday morning. Welcome back to the PTI Nice Daily Show. My name is Alan. Before we get started with today's episode, we just want to take a few moments to talk about Jane. Jane is our favorite practice management software, but much more than your standard EMR. It offers online booking and scheduling to save you time dealing with emails and calls with patients, electronic charting, and now billing with insurance. So whether you take cash or you bill insurance, Jane is the EMR for you. Jane has a demo team that will show you all the features of Jane as many times as you want to see them by booking a free demo at jane.app/physicaltherapy to make you comfortable making the transition towards Jane. When you are ready to make that switch, you can use ICE's promotion code ICEPT1MO, which will get you a 1 month free grace period to help you in your transition from whatever you're currently using towards Jane. So head on over to jane.app/physicaltherapy and learn more about Jane today. Enjoy this episode of the PTI Nice Daily Show.
Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show YouTube. I'm just going to get Instagram to come up here. Good morning. Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Rose. I am a teaching for pregnancy postpartum, clinical management of the fitness app. So what I am coming here to you today is to talk about something a little bit different than our standard pregnancy and postpartum programming. So what I am here to talk about today is actually the male side of things in pregnancy. Before we get started with that, I wanted to just kind of discuss our upcoming courses. So our next 8-week online course is going to start in a couple weeks, February 28th. So go ahead and hop in on that if you're interested in doing that. We have our live course that debuts in 2 weeks, which is super exciting. The first course is sold out, so if you wanted to hop into the next couple courses, we have one in Greenville, South Carolina, that'll be available March 26th and 27th. Then we're heading out west to Denver, Colorado, April 24th and 25th, and Bellingham, Washington, May 21st. Sorry, my cat loves the computer time. So if you guys are interested in joining us live, go ahead and head on over to ptnice.com and check out those dates. So without further ado, we are going to get started today talking about male sexual health and how the pelvic floor relates to that. So I am a pelvic floor physical therapist. I treat both male and female in my clinical practice. So with that, we see a variety of sexual dysfunction in both patient populations. So my objectives for today, what I wanted to do was to kind of review a little bit of the anatomy and physiology associated with sexual function in males, some common factors that can lead to dysfunction, and then what we can do about it. So those are what we're going to go over today. So overall, there's about 52% of the male patient population between the ages of 40 and 70 that suffer from varying different degrees of sexual dysfunction. So what that can look like in males, it can be difficulty attaining or maintaining an erection, delayed or premature ejaculation, pain with ejaculation, or decreased penile sensation. So all of those are kind of under the umbrella of sexual dysfunction in males. There has been, over the past decade, there's been a normalization of pelvic health and pelvic floor function, particularly around the pregnancy and postpartum population in females, and not so much in the male population. It's not really utilized as much in treating sexual dysfunction. And I think that's primarily because we have a pretty efficient pharmacological treatment for sexual dysfunction in males. And it's also a taboo conversation to be having with your physical therapist. So, but there is something that we can do to help this patient population as well, which is pretty cool. So, a little bit about the anatomy. Again, there's two layers of pelvic floor, superficial and deep. Our superficial layer is responsible for sexual function. So we have two muscles there that help to promote normal sexual function. So we have ischiocavernosus, which its role is primarily to pump blood distally and provide rigidity during an erection. And then we have bulbospongiosis, which is also going to help facilitate rigidity during an erection, but also it helps during the ejaculation phase as well. So, twofold. We have a little bit of neuroanatomy. So, there's two different subsets or two different nervous systems that we're utilizing during an erection and intercourse for males. We have somatic nervous system and our autonomic nervous system. And so the somatic nervous system is the pudendal nerve, might be a nerve that you guys are familiar with hearing. And it's responsible for two different things: the sensation from the penis, and then also the skeletal muscle contraction of that superficial pelvic floor musculature. The autonomic nervous system is our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous systems. And their role is vasodilation. So it's role in inhibiting the sympathetic nervous system and facilitating the parasympathetic nervous system to increase blood flow to the penis, which is going to promote um, the arterial dilation, which is going to engorge the penis and therefore create an erection. So the basic physiology of an erection, what needs to happen in order for everything to occur properly, looks kind of like this. So we have some sort of sexual stimulation, which could be, we'll simplify it and just call it a tactile stimulation from the penis, which is going to be sensed from the pudendal nerve. That signal gets sent up to the brain. The brain then integrates that and does a couple different things with that. It's going to trigger a sympathetic nervous system inhibition and parasympathetic nerve activation. And with that, we're going to get that arterial dilation. It also is sending efferents from the pudendal nerve down to stimulate the skeletal muscles to again help with blood flow into the penis. So pretty cool stuff all happening at once. What there is a multifactorial cause of sexual dysfunction in both males and females. There's multiple different layers to it, and they look like a variety of things. So the first is going to be a psychological component to erectile or to sexual dysfunction. And then biological issues also are associated with it as well. So those biological issues include hormonal dysfunction, neurological deficits, muscular deficits, and vascular issues that all play a role in working in that kind of chain of events. Psychologically, what we see, this can play a huge role in our autonomic nervous system. So if we're constantly living in that sympathetic overdrive and we're not getting into that parasympathetic nervous system, the male body has a decreased ability to maintain or even attain an erection, and also difficulty with completing ejaculation. So we'll kind of get into some of the treatments with each of these sets of dysfunction here as well. So, typically, how I like to treat the psychological aspect of things is work on just like any other psychological uh, role in any other dysfunction in the body is going to be treating it with mindfulness, um, kind of tapping into that sympathetic nervous system, but particularly around their sexual performance. So often we see difficulty with sexual performance anxiety, which is contributing to um, difficulty completing the sexual act. So that is the first treatment that I would uh, look for that, if that's the issue, creating the sexual dysfunction. So then biologically, these things are potentially a little bit easier to treat, right? Um, it's we have neurological. So there's three different things that our nerves like for proper function, right? And we kind of talk about this throughout the rest of the body. Um, it they like space, they like movement, and they like blood flow. So commonly what we see compression of the pudendal nerve or pudendal nerve entrapment based on its anatomical location just underneath the ischial rami in the pelvis. We can get compression not only just from the approximation with the skeletal system, but also from hypertonic pelvic floor muscles. So, this is another area where we're going to want to encourage relaxation of those pelvic floor muscles. We'll treat this with that relaxation, pudendal nerve flossing, and then clinically, um, I like to utilize pelvic floor dry needling. So, perineural dry needling for this patient population is super. Um, and then a subset of pudendal neuralgia in often is going to be our cyclists. So this is a particular population that we're going to be doing some other lifestyle changes as well. Potentially a proper bike fitting so that the saddle and the pelvis are not approximating that pudendal nerve as much, educating them about what's going on and how they can adjust those things, improve their neurological health as well. So the next biological component we have is going to be the muscular component that helps kind of pump blood to maintain that erection and ejaculation. And so we want to promote strong pelvic floor musculature, just like any other part of our body. We're going to teach them how to lengthen and strengthen the pelvic floor muscles, um, and educate on proper bracing mechanics, especially in this male population, can be something that we don't touch on a ton. When we're lifting heavy loads and we're bracing and we're not activating core and drawing in, but we're bearing down into that pelvic floor, that can create some pelvic floor dysfunction that then can create hypertonicity in the pelvic floor. Also, with that subset of athletes, the cyclists, what I see often here is they like to live in this posterior pelvic tilt. That posterior pelvic tilt is going to shorten the distance between the coccyx and the pubic rami, which is going to decrease the length of the pelvic floor. So, just another thing that's floor muscles, decreasing neuromobility there. So, again, treating the muscular system, we can have stronger skeletal muscles that are going to help pump the blood through the pelvic floor to maintain that erection. The thing that we have a control over as physical therapists is the vascular system. So what we want to promote is improving overall health in our patients to reduce modifiable risk factors that are going to lead to peripheral vascular disease. So if we have poor blood flow throughout the body, that's going to lead to poor blood flow to the penis and decrease the likelihood of attaining an erection. So things that we can do is encourage exercise. Really, that's what everything comes down to, is encouraging exercise to improve their cardiovascular health, reduce cardiovascular disease and diabetes, as those are two of the leading causes of peripheral vascular disease and erectile dysfunction as well. So overall, we have 4 different ways that we as physical therapists can help improve male sexual function. Number 1, that's going to be to help reduce their lifestyle stressors. So that could be to help improve their parasympathetic nervous system stimulation. Number 2 is going to improve their pudendal nerve mobility. So encourage relaxation of the pelvic floor and improve neurodynamics. Number 3 is going to be to promote increasing the length and strength of their pelvic floor muscles. And the 4th, the last but not least, probably one of the most important, is going to be improving their overall health. So reducing the modifiable risk factors associated with peripheral vascular disease to just improve their blood flow in general. So overall, we kind of reviewed the anatomy and physiology associated with male sexual function, and we were able to kind of get into 4 different ways that we as physical therapists can help. Despite pelvic floor PT being, this conservative treatment for erectile dysfunction, it's rarely used or emphasized in the medical world. So again, the more we talk about it, the more we kind of normalize pelvic floor physical therapy as a treatment option for this. So if you guys have any other questions, drop them in the comments down below, and I'll look at those to reach out to you. And hopefully we can just kind of continue this conversation about sexual health in pelvic floor function. I hope you guys have a great Monday morning and a good rest of the week. Happy Monday.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.